Yeah. So I'm thirsty. I need to get this thirst taken care of. I got 3 deals in San Francisco, Oakland area that I need to dispo ASAP. So
What's up?
if anybody's got buyers, what's that?
They sub 2 or they cash?
Actually, these are all cash. We got them in really good price. One of them we got it at $670, and its ARV is 1.2. The other one, nice. What's that?
Got that mass gainer.
What's that you're showing?
Got some creatine.
All right. Cool. I already had mine.
Nice.
Yeah, the other one in San Fran, we got it at 1.5, and its ARV is 3.2. So I need me to find some buyers ASAP. They'll be gone probably by.
This would be a great use of the post deals for you to share that.
Yeah,
with the community.
right. Yeah. You're right. I'll post it right there after these messages. Hey, by the way, I'm only here till 9:00 today. Unfortunately, I got to jump on another Zoom call at 9:00. I couldn't change that time. So
all good.
I know Dan will be carrying the boats. AB is here to help. You're always here. That's wonderful. How's everybody doing? Good morning, everyone. Andrew Kelly, Jacob, good morning. Yolanda, Hector, good morning, buddy. Haven't heard from you in a while. G30, active. I like you. Keep it up, brother. Big Play J, Grand Rising. I love that. How's everybody doing? Simon is here. Good morning. $25 kilograms each side.
Right now, that's where I'm at right now.
All right. There he is.
Good morning. Discord was not wanting me to come in today.
It was those storms from yesterday.
It was trying to fool me and say nobody. It showed me nobody was in here, and I was like, I know that's not true. I know that, so I had to refresh.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. We were talking about it last night. You guys have officially passed the 7-month mark on coffee with closers. And I want to commend you on the absolute persistence that it takes to do over probably closer to 8 months now than 7 months.
Closer to 8 months, yeah. The second. January 2nd was the first day.
Yeah. And just the absolute patience, persistence, everything that it takes to do something like that every single day for close to 8 months is very commendable. So I thought that was awesome. We were talking about it last night.
It really is. And, what really matters is the accountability. I mean, having Dan, John, you, AB, all you guys here, holding me accountable. I mean, when was it? I think it was back in May. What's in May? Labor Day or no, the other one? Memorial Day.
Memorial.
Yeah. On Memorial Day, Monday, I took it off, but Dan and John were here and they kept it going, and I felt so bad. I did. I'm like, shit, these guys don't give up. I'm being held accountable. I better move my ass and make sure I'm here every day. It's got to be life-threatening or something like that I won't be here anymore. So glad to have compadres like these guys and you.
You've done it over twice as long as I have, and I have the same guilt as well. So I can only imagine being like you and John are like, and probably AB as well, are like the OG beginners day one of Coffee with Closers. So
Dan was here too.
If I don't show up, or so I can only imagine. So again, we were talking about last night. I've tried to do podcasts and things with friends of mine, and it's hard to fully commit to that.
It really is.
Schedule on a weekly or daily basis and do this, month after month after month. It's absolutely it's awesome to see. And then to see
Yeah.
it grow into this too. Like, I got a buddy who's been doing he's been doing podcasts on YouTube for far too long, and I can tell you when he posts a video, it gets 4 views, 5 views, and he's still grinding it out. And he's, I'm trying to show my support, but I'm just like, maybe we got to change some things. Maybe the topic,
exactly.
Something. We got to do some A/B testing here. We got to do an audit of what you're talking about. It's not, but to see you guys coming on day one and be somewhere to 2,000 members to now doing it on a consistent basis and talking to now close to 12,000, I think is awesome.
Crazy. But what's disheartening, and again, I go back to that time slot thing, is the fact that we get all these good people showing up, but it's the same 40 to 60 people that show up every day. The same people showing up every day. They get it. They understand. We've got Kishore, Savion, Lonnie, Yolanda, all these people have been here. Simon, the twins, Leslie, all of these people, right? They show up on a daily basis, yet, we are growing as a community, but yet we're not able to bring more people in here. I don't know what it is. So we need to shake things up too.
That's true. I guess maybe we have to do an audit here, because it's funny that you mentioned that, because we do see the same faces in here on a daily basis. And these are not the people that I see in the chat every day asking the same questions or the same kind of beginner questions, which shows
amazing, right?
Potential coming in here, and not even like that we're so educational and that we're so smart that if you just come in here, you're going to learn everything, but just the ability to come up on stage and ask questions, and the engagement is so much more back and forth in this platform and this capability here than in the chat. And again, I don't see any of the people that show up here on a daily basis in the chat asking those questions all the time. So it's just, I think that's the testing that I can see. It's like, okay, at least if you show up here every day, whether that's us or in the audience, I think that it's just better serving. So yeah, I guess we have to do an audit to see, what can we do to get more people here in order to, and again, don't be afraid to jump on stage. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable. Don't be afraid that you're just starting out in this business and you don't, the questions that you ask might be so brand new and so whatever that it seems stupid. You got to start somewhere. I mean, they're absolutely, and do I want to see those questions in the chat and in the DMs? Not so much, but this specific 1 hour time slot is that window to ask, and be vulnerable or whatever questions you got going on. And I always just say, as long as we don't go back to the comping, I'm good on everything else. Like, let's just, as long as we can move past that, I'm good on everything else.
Well, we might even squeak in 1 or 2.
We have to.
Once a week. How's that? I do too, but I want to hear yours first.
I think what we should consider is renaming this Morning Mentorship. Everybody in the chat always asking, who can be my mentor? Who can be my mentor? This and that. Let's see where it goes. We'll put in the chat free mentorship happening right now. We'll tag everyone. There are 800 plus online right now. Looks like 1,000 people online right now. If we can get 100 people in the room, that's what, 10%? That's nuts.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a good marketing gimmick. But are we doing mentorship really? I mean, what is someone expecting from a mentorship, right? And are we providing that here? Maybe, I don't know. Some parts of it, definitely. How about this? How about for all members, especially new ones, it's mandatory that they must show up for at least 1 week or they're banned.
Ooh!
John's heart just fell.
It's like it's like college credits. You got to get your credits in.
Right?
Look at that, 82. Okay. There you go.
That key
But you mentioned free mentorship, and all of a sudden the room got packed.
Well, that's what we need. Everybody that's in here that's joining us for the first time, I just want to welcome you all. We host this call every single day at the same time, 11:30 a.m. Eastern, day in, day out, Monday through Friday. If this is the first time joining us, make sure that you come and stick around. Ask your questions in the side chat. It's very important that you get connected with the people in the side chat Everybody in here is focused on real estate. We're all pursuing this business day in and day out. The people that come and speak on the stage every day have done this business at a pretty high level. You know, a lot of us are closing deals consistently, and many of us have established businesses that are literally rinse and repeat. So you have a lot of people here to learn from, and it's a great opportunity to be in proximity with people that are already doing what you want to do. So definitely don't squander the opportunity, seize the opportunity, get loud, be involved, and make sure that people know how they can collaborate with you. In the side chat, I'd love if everybody could introduce themselves and let them know where they are currently at in their business, what markets they're in, how that they can help. If you're a wholesaler, say, hey, I'm wholesaling. These are my main markets. If anybody's got deals here, let me know. Let's get them dispoed. Bob just mentioned that he's got 2 deals, right? Is it 2 deals?
3.
3, not 2, 3 deals in California that he needs buyers for, guys. These are potential multiple 5-figure or maybe even a 6-figure spread on the assignment. You need to get with Bob and talk to him about how you can bring value to him and see, hey, how can I bring a buyer to this deal and get paid? So these are the types of opportunities that you are being presented with here in the community. We don't charge anything, and there's no other opportunity quite like this anywhere. So definitely don't sleep on this opportunity.
I think that's something, though, that Bob would have to give to someone. He would have to decide to give them the deal. You know what I mean? It's like, I want to make sure that we're clear on that. Like, just
Thank
because
you.
we get deals all the time, guys, but I know, like, Bob and I, we run like a little bit more of a larger operation. And like for me, my instance, like for me, like I'm very over leveraged in my business. Like I don't have any groundwork inside of my actual operation. So I don't really know what's going on. So if you guys ever bring me a deal or anybody ever comes to me, and I'm sure it's the same with Bob, it's not Bob and I that are going out and hustling and trying to sell the deal, or we're not pushing it over to somebody else. We're sending it over to 1 or 2 more people, and they're getting to work on it immediately, and they're trying to do something. So, if Bob were to say, if you were to come to Bob and say, hey, I'm looking for a deal to if you get any deals in this area, let me know. I'm very, very, very experienced, but to be able to sell these deals in this area. So don't forget about me, but just remember that it's his choice. It's my choice. It's Matt Riley's choice to come give you a deal. I'm not looking for any areas, Fox. I think a lot of you forget, and I just want to make sure this is like nailed inside of your heads. Like, if you come bring me a deal, like, it better be exclusive to my team, because again, it's not me going out there just trying to be like immediate, bring you the buyer, first one to bring the buyer wins the deal. I hate that. So because it's not me that's selling the deal, it's I have people that are working underneath me who are spending their time trying to put effort into getting your deal sold. So if you bring me a deal and I give my team the info and send it out, and I trust you, right, that this is what's going to go, how this is going to go, and then they start sitting there, and then the next thing I know, I get a text message that says, hey, boss, we just noticed that this deal is posted on Investor Lift. Do you know anything about that? No, I don't know anything about that. And then I go back to the person, they go, oh yeah, well, I sent it out to such and such. Or I send it out to John Johnson, or I send it out to somebody else, or I send it out to Bob Sadai. And then I'm like, well, I'd be like, I can't be mad at Bob or John because they probably don't even know that I have the deal.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like,
no, you can't be mad at us, but you got to be mad at the guy who sent it.
Exactly. And so I want to make sure that, like, if you guys are ever reaching out to us to help you sell a deal, that's an opportunity. If you guys are ever looking for an opportunity to sell something, I don't think that coming to us, if you're looking to sell a deal, if you're new in the industry, is the way to start. I think you should team up with people that are kind of on your level. I think that's the best way to kind of provide value to each other. I think if you scale up the ladder too fast, it's like you can get yourself into a situation that you're not ready for. I personally don't work with new wholesalers. I won't work with you unless I know that you've closed 10 deals or more, and they have to be like your deals. So I won't work with you unless you've closed 10 deals or more myself. But you have to, and just in my opinion, if you're coming to me and you're trying to sell a deal for me on one of my ends, like you have to come with some experience. And most of the time it's like, I already know who to go to, right? It's like, if I need a deal sold to somebody, I need somebody to go
to. In here to get connected with people like you that have that experience. And if you don't have that experience yet, reach out in the chat, reach out on the side chat, make sure that you squat up with people and get that experience. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and jump into some questions. If anybody has some questions in the side chat, we want to make sure that we're using this time to answer questions from the community. We want you to hop up on the stage, raise your hand. This is an interactive opportunity to hop up and get involved. We have 100 people in this call right now, Bob. That's that 10% I was mentioning earlier. We got the conversion rate. Now let's get people involved. Let's bring them up on the stage and let's talk to them. Sithik, how are you doing, man? What is your introduce yourself? Let us know where you're from, what you're doing, man.
Yeah, my name is Matthew. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. And I'm pretty new to wholesaling, and I had a question regarding actually meeting buyers in person for appointments, as there's a part of my city that's a little bit more sketchy, and I'm not sure if it's necessarily the most safe thing to go there, especially the house is closed off and etc. So I was just curious, what is a good way? Do I even need to go in person, or can I just simply talk on the phone?
My opinion.
Go. Do you want this one, Bob?
Yeah, I'll take it. So, Matthew, right?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, welcome. We're glad to have you here.
Yeah,
Good question. As far as buyers, I'm glad that you're going after buyers first. That's what me, PDRE, pretty much everybody here preaches on a daily basis, is to go after buyers first, so that you know what the demand is and therefore you know what to go after and try to find for them. As far as buyers is concerned, you don't want to pigeonhole yourself with having only 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 buyers, okay? So you want to have as many quality buyers as possible. Okay, keyword there was quality, okay? You don't want to have a list of necessarily 5,000 or 20,000, whatever, okay? Is that valuable? Could be, yeah, sometimes it is. But if you're going after your own market, like Louisville, for example, okay, you want to have anywhere between 10 to 50, preferably 100. I like that 100 number, okay? If you can get to 100 cash buyers, you're sitting pretty. So if you're going after buyers and you're looking for 100 buyers, how many face-to-face meetings can you have with them?
Yeah.
How long will that take? Okay? So just from an efficiency standpoint, you want to make sure that you meet as many of them as possible, as quickly as possible, so you can gather your data as quickly as possible. And the best way to do that is through a phone call. If you want to meet them face-to-face, Zoom. Do a Zoom call with them, okay? So that they can put a picture, a face to your name, okay? And you see who they are, and you guys can feel each other out better that way, in a professional manner, and you don't, you're not, what's the word I'm looking for? You're not wasting your time.
Yeah.
Okay. And then when it comes to meeting sellers in person, is it smart to just talk to them over the phone, or should I go for an in-person appointment? Because I'm currently 17, and one of the things I'm worried about is people won't take me serious for my age. So I'm kind of curious what you guys had to think about that.
Yeah, so am I taking this one on? So most people, most people will start off with a phone call or a text message at the beginning. Okay, you want to gauge the motivation level, okay, of the seller first before just running to them and trying to put it under contract. Okay.
Yeah.
So the first 1, 2, at least 3 calls. Interactions are going to be through phone calls or text, okay? Once you see that they're serious and the numbers are making sense based on what they've given you and what your cash buyers are looking for, okay? Then you set that appointment up. Now, when you meet them, you may look young. You may want to go with a partner, okay? Especially since you're 17, you're not going to be able to sign a contract legally. So you're going to need a partner. So take your partner with you, okay? and have him do most of the talking while you're there. Okay. And you learn.
Okay.
That's what I would recommend.
Yeah, I just think it's I know it's in the beginning when you're first starting out, you want to try to do as much as you possibly can, but I think it's a good point, like Bob was saying, like what's the best use of your time? And I'm all about that too. I get very frustrated when I see new people just kind of trying to grab everything. And so if you're trying to meet people, it's like you could do 50 Zoom call meetings. Could you do 50 in-person showings though on that same day? You wouldn't be able to. So it's just, and I think there's a big thing of rapport building as well. So you can meet people, but if you're meeting people all the time, which is great, if that's your basis of introducing yourself to buyers and sellers, you like I can't remember the last time that I met a buyer of mine or a seller, or everything is done either through Zoom or phone calls and just that rapport. I wouldn't be able to work virtually at that point either, because I can't go meet buyers in Louisiana, and I can't go meet sellers in Louisiana and other markets that I'm in too. So I think doing as much as you can with what you have without having to stretch yourself too thin is probably the best starting point for sure.
Okay, because for example, the other day I reached out to a seller, and he's in an extremely distressed situation, and he inherited a property that had been vacant for 16 years, and he wanted to get rid of it because he was spending his weekends cutting the grass. And he said recently his wife got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and he said he didn't want to spend his time dealing with the house, so he just wanted to get rid of it. So he gave me a deal, and he said either I accept that deal or he's gonna donate to a charity. And he said I can meet him in person to check out the property, but I'm not sure if I should, because it is in a pretty sketchy part of town, and the whole house is boarded up. So I'm not really sure what I should do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you have your own comfort zone, right? Your own comfort level. I'm here in Chicago. I know my boundaries very, very, very well. I know where I should be. I know where I shouldn't be. I know where places are appropriate for me to go and where I'm not, where I shouldn't be going, and where I would probably implement some other boots on the ground, another resource in that situation for me to be checking out properties and stuff like that. So if that is a similar situation, then you should probably look into maybe plugging somebody else in and just gathering as much information on the property other than that as possible as well.
Okay.
I don't think he's fearful, Bones. I think he's the 17-year-old kid that doesn't want to end up in the wrong neighborhood.
Well,
and get shot.
I mean, that's a fear.
Yeah.
I mean, Louisville, Kentucky.
That's realistic. It's a realistic fear.
Come on over to West Garfield Park in Chicago at 17 or 36, and there's still the same, like, I should not be here. I don't care how hot of a deal this is. I should not be here. So
We've got a couple of those places here in SoCal too.
Yeah, it's just, again, I like to respect where I belong and where I don't belong. And so
we all live in a big city. We all have those areas that that are tough. I mean, look, I got girls that are friends of mine who are realtors here in Miami who will call me and be like, "Hey, I have to go do this showing, in this neighborhood or this street or whatever. Do you mind? Do you have time to show up?" And just like, so, it would be a good decision sometimes in those scenarios if you think it's a really good deal and you really want to make it. Bring somebody along. Bring dad along. Bring big brother along. Bring somebody that that you can provide you with some security, with some backup, like somebody that's experienced in those areas. And Opalaka, you really gotta be careful there for sure. You're really young. So you also have, the disadvantages of someone, easily more, taking advantage of you. I'm not saying that because I'm not trying to come down on you or anything like that. It's just, you have lack of experience. You have lack of situational experience. I mean, for me, I think that if the younger you are, the more you should be leaning more towards virtual and just letting someone else go and do the walkthroughs for you. Just simply for a lot of different aspects. You should have an LLC in place. You shouldn't be putting any names or anything on any contracts that are personal, just because you should be more extra protected. So
Yeah, currently that's the only way I can sign a contract through an LLC. So my
Right.
parents have like an LLC, so I joined it, and I'm a manager, so I'm just gonna sign off contracts with that.
Yeah. So
But then
I mean,
again, yeah,
I mean, it doesn't mean that somebody who's 17 can't get started and invest and buy a house. You know what I mean? There's 16-year-olds that get invested into real estate and they're buying Airbnbs and stuff like that with their parents' help and all that. And but you gotta have that's the whole bottom line is you gotta have mom and dad's help, or you gotta have somebody's help. So if they're requesting to come do a walkthrough at something local and you want to come take a look at it, be like, hey, me and my dad are doing this business together. We're going to come take a look at it at such and such time. Hey, Dad, do you mind coming and taking a look at the property with me and doing a walkthrough to kind of see what's going on, because he might also be able to bring you some kind of experience. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That you might not be able to be aware of as well. Because I don't know how many property walkthroughs that you've done, but there's certain things you need to keep a lookout for. There's certain things you look at. You know what I mean? And it's like the older we get, when you start buying your own houses, you start looking at some things, you start learning more about construction, even if you're not a contractor, even if you're not a handyman, even if you're not anything like that. Even with all the experience that I have, I still go to my dad and I still ask him for advice on certain things. And you know what I mean? And he can point out things that I still can't. So, that's my advice.
Okay, and one last thing, would it be smart to just simply ask? I saw someone in the chat say I should just ask the seller to send me pictures of the property, because I mean that's the only really reason I need to check it out, just to see the condition.
I was just gonna say, Big Play Jay, I was muted. He made a good point. Like, don't be afraid as well. Like, I know in the beginning you're like nervous of how many questions should I ask the seller, or how far should I try to push them? Like, don't be afraid to look up as much, like Google Street Views, Google Maps, and then ask the seller, do you have any current pictures? Do you have any current videos? Are you able to provide anything that I can do some due diligence on, maybe before I can get out there, or it's going to take me a little bit to get out there. So do you have anything that you might be able to provide me to give me that additional information? Anything that I can see, to see, maybe he lives right down the street. A lot of people with properties live local, so they can get over there. Maybe he's going to go over there tomorrow anyway, so he can snap a few photos and videos. Even if they're not the best, it'll give you a good general idea at least, and prevent you from having to go out there right away.
All right, thank you guys so much for all the help. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. After you go,
I'm afraid I gotta jump off.
Okay.
Sorry. I just wanted to say goodbye to everyone. Have a great day. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.
Bye, Bob.
After you go out to that property, definitely come back and let us know how that goes, man.
Yes, sir.
A lot of young people in here that are like 17 all want to do the same thing in terms of working with that LLC and signing as a partner, as a member. And so to see that in action would be really cool.
Yeah, and like I said, don't be afraid to ask sellers for photos and stuff, because again, it's just what's the best use of your time. If you talk to 50 sellers a day, let's just say, and that's a huge number, of course, and all 50 of them were like, hey, you got to come out, come out here and take a look for yourself. You wouldn't physically be able to go check out 50 properties in a 1 or 2 day basis. It would take you a span of a week. So don't be afraid to just say like, hey, do you have any recent photos, any recent videos? Are you in the area maybe that you can help me out with that? And so I can run my numbers and, make best use of your time so you can get that offer out quicker as well. Because if you have to go out there and go look and take your own picture, you're wasting time now where maybe they can provide those things for you. Or you can use Google Street View and different resources like that.
Tardion. We got Tardion on the stage. What's going on, man? How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Good. Please introduce yourself. Let us know where you're at, what you're doing.
Sure. Yeah, I'm Sebastian. This is my, I think, second or third time in one of these meetings, but second time talking. I'm in Kansas City, Missouri, and I'm a newer wholesaler. But I have a couple of questions. One is related to probates, and then one's related to subject to. I'll start with the probate question, if you guys don't mind. So I've got a lead that I cold called. Seems like, after 2-3 calls, we built some good rapport, and they're pretty interested in selling, but they just filed for the probate. And so, it's a new process for them that they haven't gone through, and obviously new for me as well. How would I actually go about like, is there anything other than the actual purchase and sale agreement that would need to be submitted to the judge to actually sell the property out, out from or prior to the completion of the probate, or does something else have to happen?
It's in probate now. The actual probate court is
They
open.
just started it, and so I spoke to what seems to be or the applicant of the probate. So she hasn't actually been approved, or she isn't actually the official person representative.
She applied to be.
Right, but the expectation is because she's the older sister of the guy that had passed away, and it seems like he doesn't have any next of kin, so it seems like it's going to be her. And so, yeah.
I mean, yeah, the probates are, yeah. And what's your intent? What's the exit strategy on this? Just like traditional financing, cash? You said creative?
So for this one, it would be just to wholesale it. The subject to is a different question.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. Probates are tough, just especially if it's started already, and it has like a judge assigned to it and things like that. I did one probably a year and a half ago. That was probably the last one I really messed with, and came in under ask, got a great deal on the original asking price. Then did the inspection. It was a multifamily in the city of Chicago. It was a 4 or 6 unit. I think it was a 6 unit. And it was a grandma and grandpa owned it for like 30, 40 years. They passed away, and then it went to the grandkids. Grandkids didn't want it, but the grandparents didn't have the proper estate planning, so it went to probate. So they listed it on the market. We got it for a great deal. Did the walkthrough. There was a bunch of like bad plumbing in the basement, just mold, water, the whole deal. So we got a further reduction from that. And then at that point, it was a home run of a deal. Couldn't believe it got accepted. Sure enough, it went to probate court, our offer, and the judge shut it down. And so they made us come back and raise our offer, and we had to kind of play that back and forth game of like what was going to be approved by the judge and what wasn't. And so it just really depends. Like the judge is like that intermediary person. Like even though the grandkids at that point were like, we'll take it. We don't want the building. This was grandma and grandpa's. Like we have nothing to do with this. We're not in real estate. Like we'll take the offer. We don't care. Like that's cash in our pockets. We don't care. And the judge is playing that middleman role where they're trying to get the estate as much, a fair offer. And they don't want they don't want anyone to feel like they got taken advantage of. Even though the grandkids are saying yes today, what if 6 months down the road, all of a sudden they had a change of heart? And they're like, we feel like we got taken advantage of. We feel like this. So the judge tries to play that middle ground. So it's just, for me, I avoid probates, especially on the creative side, just because of that. I don't like dealing with things I don't have full control over. But if you get it for a great enough deal and you play that back and forth situation, even if that judge makes you raise your price, that still could be a good deal. Like my guy still bought that deal even after they made us raise it because our starting point was so low from that accepted offer.
So do I need to bring anything to the judge or to the lawyer other than that person?
Yeah. Just starting off with a purchase agreement would be, a signed, executed purchase agreement will show a satisfactory that you are interested. Both parties have signed. Both parties agree to these terms, whatever the purchase price is, whatever those things are, and then it's just a waiting game at that point.
Okay, and so then obviously there would be, on the purchase and sale agreement, there'd be like a closing date, all that, as long as, you bring in the buyer, do the assignment, everything within that time frame, everything's normal.
Yeah, and just give yourself, be realistic. Like you're probably not going to be able to put a 30-day close on a probate deal. So just plan accordingly for your closing date on your purchase agreement. Realistic. Is it on market or off market?
It's off market.
Off market. So you're dealing directly with the daughter?
With the older sister, yeah.
With the older sister, that's what I meant. Yeah, the older sister. Yeah, and have you presented the offer already, and she accepted?
No. So this has just been like 2 phone calls with them, basically like just getting the ball rolling as far as building that rapport, and so there's been no talks about numbers yet. They're actually out of state, so I'm just kind of trying to make it aware to them that like, hey, like I'm here to help you guys. I'm local. I can go, look at the house and or help out with anything around the house. Just kind of be just be a good person to them, and then kind of get to the house kind of later down the road.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad deal. So yeah, I would try to get it, obviously, just like you would anything else, try to get it for as best of deal as possible, just for the possibility of it having to go through probate and then them telling you, we don't accept that, it has to be higher.
So then, okay, sweet. And so you mentioned, as far as the 30-day closing, is there something particular about the probate process that would kind of make it hard to sell within that 30-day window, or?
I mean, it's got to go to court. It has to go through the court process. So you got to imagine, like, when's the next court? Like, I'm sure there's a court date, possibly, like maybe a scheduled one.
Sure.
So you're not at the, again, like if this was like, just say probate's removed from this scenario and you're dealing with the older sister, and you're like, hey, I'll buy this thing in 14 days. And she says, okay, because there's no other outside third party resource that can say yes or no, right? It's just her and the property, and you can close whenever. With this, there's an entire court date, court process, judge, the whole deal. So it's like, when are you on the docket for the next court case? To get in there and do that.
So pretty much, if I'm understanding correctly, I pretty much have to set the closing date, a few weeks after the court date. Where
I mean, you could put 30 days if you want. You could put 45 days, and then just once you get closer to that closing day, if it's obviously not there, they haven't gone to court, you get no answers. You can just add an extension in there too, like just as long as everyone's out. As long I'm sure she's aware as well of like what this is possibly going to be in terms of timeline. So just as long as you set those expectations up front and just let her know, like, hey, here's the contract. I'm going to walk you through quickly of the 5 points of what this contract is. Here's the purchase price. Here's my earnest money. Point out the different things on there, and then say, here's the closing date. You and I both know it's probably not going to get done in that 30-day period. So I just want to set realistic expectations that I'm putting 30 days here just in case. But if we get to the point of like day 20, whatever, and we're not at that point yet, we're just going to send over an extension to get this thing extended until we get to that point. And she'll say, okay, no problem. I understand that.
Perfect. That's awesome to know. Yeah, I appreciate it. Cool. And then my other question is about subject to. And so, creative obviously seems to be, obviously a really good tool to have, right? And it's something that as a wholesaler I want to, be familiar with. And so me and my girlfriend, we're both getting into wholesaling, and she actually just got her license, so that we're in a Missouri's non-disclosure. So anyways, we've actually come across a property. A friend of one of my coworkers in my day job, he's moving out of state here in a few months, and her and I were actually looking to buy a house. So this is kind of a two-pronged question. One, to better understand the subject to, but also just to make sure this is would work for us in our situation, because we'd actually be looking to buy his house subject to, but keep it for ourselves, right? And so he's got. Pretty much, he's got like a really good 2.875 interest rate. The estimated ARV on the house is $360, with monthly payments currently estimated at like $1,600. And so their original loan was $240,000, but because of the appreciation from that $240 to $360, their current equity is $160. And so we would have to basically come up with either straight up $160,000. Like, would it be okay for us to pull out a loan for the $160 and then basically, but still obviously take over their mortgage and make those payments? Or would it be better to basically figure out what his lowest allowable, what he'll take cash or?
There you go. You were on the right track by saying, or should I go and see what his lowest allowable? Just because his equity is 160 doesn't mean that he wants or needs 160. So in that situation of the larger equity sub twos, obviously the most preferable sub two is 10% or less, somewhere around that. Especially an on market 10% or less, that person's probably paying 6% to commissions, another 1 to 2% for closing costs, tax prorations, fees. They're writing a check at closing or at least breaking even. So those ones are no brainers. On the large equity ones, yes, if they sold, they'd walk away with somewhere around $100,000, $125,000 after all is said and done. But does he need all of that money right now? Have you had that discussion with him? And so it's one of those things of just because he's got that much equity doesn't necessarily mean that he needs it all. And if he doesn't need it all, what terms can you create on that 160?
Right. So that's kind of the thought I had today. So my girlfriend and I had spoken to him yesterday. Seems like he's open to it. He's actually having an agent go by today to look at it. So he's not on market yet. And so we spoke to him like, hey, like if we're able to work something off market, we can get more money in his pocket, right? Because then he doesn't have to pay closing, commissions, all that, or not closings, but he wouldn't have to pay commissions. So then it occurred to me today, well, yeah, if he doesn't need the 160, could we get him, whatever he needs in cash, and then would we basically then almost like seller finance the rest of that equity?
Yep. So it's referred to as a hybrid deal in that situation. So a hybrid is a two-part. So exactly what you're referring to. Let's just use round numbers, right? So the property's worth $200,000. There's a $100,000 loan. So there's $100,000 in equity. You're going to, the first part of the hybrid is you taking over that $100,000 in sub 2 mortgage, right? So remove that sub 2. So at 2.8% interest at a $500 PITI payment, whatever that is. Now we have to deal with the $100,000 remaining. That's the hybrid. What terms can we create for that seller finance equity of $100,000 that makes sense to the seller, but also makes sense to you as well? And that's the tricky part, and this is the part where a lot of people get themselves in trouble because they create terms on the seller finance equity that they end up getting themselves in trouble because it doesn't make sense. They either put a balloon on there that's way too short, they'll add a too high of an interest rate so they're not paying it down quick enough. They offer too high of a monthly payment on the equity, so now the payment on the equity plus the payment on the sub 2, let's just say you're trying to rent it, is now you can't even cash flow because you overpromised. So just creating terms that make sense to both of you on that deal, but that's called a hybrid.
Okay. Now, so
take a breather.
A continuation question on the contract side. So there's actually a title company here in Kansas City that provides free sub 2 contracts. I've briefly skimmed it, but would there have to be anything different, or could that hybrid terms all be included in your standard sub 2, or is there something different about that?
No, so the biggest thing with sub 2, and again, I love sub 2. 95% of the deals that I do are sub 2 related, and probably the other 5% is seller finance. Sub 2, there is a gray area though. We are taking over somebody's mortgage, right? The ownership of the property is transferring over to you, and their debt is staying in place, and you're taking over that debt. So there is a gray area. So we want to make sure that we are protected, and how we're protected is in the contracts. What you should have, whether it's on the flat purchase agreement contract or a separate addendum, there should be something like a seller acknowledgement sheet that states several times where the seller can initial next to it that they fully are aware and understand what they are doing in this structure. You never want a seller to be able to turn around 6 months down the road, 12 months down the road, whenever it is, and be like, I feel like I got taken advantage of. I don't want my mortgage there anymore. He didn't tell me this, he didn't tell me that. Just claiming ignorant to the situation. So you want seller acknowledgments. You want as many initials and signatures stating I, the seller, understand that buyer is taking over my mortgage payments. That buyer is, you want that. So there are sub 2 forms for that as well, whether it's on the purchase agreement or on a separate addendum. If your title company has a sub 2 contract, that's great. If it doesn't have something like that, you might want to maybe, especially on a personal residence of yours, investment property is one thing, but you're living in this property. I would hate for you to buy this property, you and your wife or whoever it is and your kids all move in, everything's great. You're living the fantasy life, and then something happens 12 months down the road and the seller changes their mind. And then you didn't get the proper acknowledgments stating that they knew what they were doing. So I would possibly have an attorney talk with a local attorney as well, let him know what you're trying to do, and then have him draft up an addendum with seller acknowledgments, sub 2 related.
Gotcha. Okay. And then I think this is probably my last question. So a servicing company. So with
Edison Management.
I'm sorry?
Edison Management.
I couldn't understand the first word, my bad.
Madison Management.
Madison Management. Okay.
I would just at least check them out first. There's 100 other ones out there. The thing with servicing companies, there's not a there's not like a super modern, fantastic one. They're all kind of like low level. Like you go to their websites and you're like, what is this? I can't believe this is a real company. But so it's just they're the best ones that I've found that do what I need them to do. They don't blow me away by any means. They don't but communication is decent. They do what they say they're going to do. They keep the record. So that's somebody I would check out first.
So do they? So as far as is a servicing company basically required or like highly recommended in all sub-2 deals, or like?
Yes. I'm just going to stop you there. 100%. Only and it's protection for you and the seller in that situation, right? Because I've seen people do things where it's more like a handshake deal, right? Where it's like, hey, Mr. Seller, this is great. Let's just do this, me and you. We don't even have to go to a title company. Let's just shake hands and I'll pay your mortgage and all of these things. And then down the road, the seller can just be like, hey, you never made payments. And you're like, yes, I did. And he's like, no, you haven't. And there's no proof. You're like, oh, I've been Zelling you or I've been Cash Apping you. But there's no like real trace to prove it. And so now he can foreclose on you or he can do whatever. So it's protection for both of you. You want it for yourself because you want a licensed servicing company record showing that you've been servicing that debt. It can show the withdrawal from your account, the invoices and the receipts from the servicing company showing that you've been making those payments and where those payments were being sent off to. And then it's protection for the seller too for that exact reason. And then the seller now has licensed servicing company records that they can log in and pull statements for and go give it to a new lender if they're trying to qualify for a new loan or whatever they need that for. They have those records as well. They can log in and make sure that those payments are being made. So it's a good thing for both of you guys, and it costs like $20 a month.
Okay, so would we basically be transfer? Is it separate from the title company altogether?
Yes, the servicing companies, that's a completely separate thing. What I would do is if you were to do this and they accept your offer, you guys have an executed contract, you send everything to the title company, they open escrow. In that same period of time, I would be reaching out to the servicing company and getting that ball rolling because the servicing company is going to need mortgage statements and all of that from the seller to onboard that loan into their system, and then they're going to have to set up your banking information, like your ACH information, all of that to pull money from you. So they have some coordination that needs to take place, and you can do it after closing. But again, like if sometimes the servicing companies just suck. Again, they're I don't know, they just are on their own schedule sometimes. So I'd hate for you to close, and let's just say the mortgage payment is due 2 days after closing, and now you're trying to set everything up, and now you missed the payment. So I would try to at least get the ball rolling while you're under contract, so that way you can either get it ready to go and it's done during closing, or at least at closing you're pretty much there and you can make your first payment if need be.
It's kind of like once you have that servicing company in place, it's almost like an auto pay that they auto pay the mortgage for you.
Yeah, so like on mine, like I have a couple properties that I seller financed out to owner occupants, and so they're on auto pay. And then me as the seller, I just get receipts every month to my email showing the payment, and then I can click it even, and it shows me the breakdown. So this guy pays me, I think $1,900 a month. And then there's a breakdown of like, here's how much of that was principal and interest. Here's how much of this went to your escrow, which pays taxes and insurance. And then he pays a second fee, which is the servicing fee for the servicing company. So it's a separate invoice then at that point for like $25 or whatever it is. So yeah.
Perfect.
I forgot your question. I hope that answered. I actually forgot.
No, that did. No, that definitely did. Okay.
Yeah, very good questions.
Yeah. I've definitely been taking some action since last time I was on here, so we're getting the ball rolling, so slowly but surely.
Good luck on the on the sub-2 on the personal residence, because that's a game changer, man. If you can get that done, that's awesome.
I appreciate it. Hey, thanks for the info. You guys have a good one. See ya.
Devin Hunt, my man, how you doing?
Well,
Devin?
I'm good, brother. How are you doing, John?
Blessed and highly favored, man. Another day alive.
Amen.
Yeah.
How about you, man? How about you, Dan? How you guys doing?
I'm better now.
That's awesome. Good. Hey, I guess I'll give you guys an update on with the realtor situation. I've got another their question, not in regards to that. So I actually ended up going to like a realtor's class. I'm not a realtor, but they were going over probates, and I saw the fellow that I was trying to work the deal with, and he said he was getting really busy, so I hadn't really done anything since I had spoken with him. But he's still pretty straightforward and was still comfortable with with me being a wholesaler and moving forward, trying to move forward with that deal. So it's still kind of happening. But I've got 3 deals that I actively have under contract and in title, and I have done deals with the title company in the past before without having to disclose. Like I let my seller know what I'm doing. I let them know that I'm wholesaling the property, and then I'm going to be getting an assignment fee. But in this recent deal, or really in all 3 of them, they told me I had to add a document to my purchase and sale agreement disclosing the amount that I was selling the property for to my buyer, and also disclosing the amount that I was receiving from them. And initially, I was kind of confused as to why they wanted me to have that disclosure on the agreement, because it's already going to be in the HUDs, and it's not like I'm hiding anything from them, because it's going to be on the HUDs at closing. But I was kind of curious, and this is definitely a deeper conversation that I need to have with them. But curious if you guys have any ways to get around that, because like the two of them are lots, and so the assignment fee is not going to be that large. But one of them is a house, and it's a $23,000 assignment, and so I'm like, I think she'll be okay with me getting that fee, but at the same time, I'm not 100% sure, and I don't want her to back out of the deal all of a sudden because I'm making $20,000. So, what are y'all's thoughts?
John, you dealt with this on your Zanesville properties, didn't you?
Yeah, the seller, he was really. So I had an agent go and backdoor me. I was marketing the property, and then that agent went try to backdoor me, go to the seller, and disclose that I was looking to assign it. And he got very upset with me, and he didn't want me to make more than $5,000 on the deal. That was what he was trying to pick my pockets. I tried to renegotiate because I was trying to make like 15, and I think it was fair. I was moving 3 properties, but he didn't want to see me make more than 5. Long story short,
he didn't want to see me win, huh?
He didn't want to see me win, man. He didn't want to see this guy make any money. He didn't want to see me win.
He didn't want to see you win.
He just wanted to win. He just wanted to make me. He just wanted to see me make him win. That was all. But, nah, man. So what I did was I renegotiated with the seller, and I told him like, hey, look, we only got one offer, $5,000 above. I got to be at 105 to make this work. And it was funny because that buyer backed out on the deal. And so at that time, my earnest money went hard, non-refundable. And I was in a situation, I was in Ecuador, and I had everything on the line here, and I had to make this work. And so I had to keep marketing the property. Long story short, I found somebody for $2,500 more. So I made $7,500 on that assignment. But I didn't run into a title issue or a title company issue where they made me disclose how much I was going to make on the deal. I always send a redacted copy of the agreement. I only redact the price. And, if the buyer's cool with that and that's what they want to pay, that's what they pay.
Right. And so it's not that I have the issue with the buyer. It's more of like, I guess it's really more of the title company. And I think maybe I'm just speculating because I don't know what the seller's going to think if she knows that, like, she already knows I'm assigning the contract. She knows I'm selling the property off to one of my partners. But I guess I'm concerned, and maybe I'm just getting in my head that when she finds out that I'm making $23,000 off of this property.
So she hasn't yet said anything about it. You're just no, she hasn't. But you're getting ready just in case,
right? And because I've never I've worked with this title. I've done like 3 deals to them, and I've never ever had to like they want me to explicitly disclose that I'm buying in the agreement, or I guess the addendum to it, that I am getting her property locked under contract for $48,000, and then I am going over and actually I guess it'll be 22,000. Anyways, and then I'm going over and selling it for 65. Maybe I didn't do my math right. Yeah, I didn't do my math right, but $65,000. So I'm and then saying that I will be making actually that's 17,000. Yeah, so I'll be making $17,000.
Yeah, it sounds like the title company's trying to protect their ass on that. They again, we were talking about before, like acknowledgement, a disclosure, basically. Like they're like, we don't want anyone to turn around and say that, so they're trying to, but which is kind of ridiculous. And I think it's kind of outside the realm of like what they, here's the purchase agreement, here's this, here's that. Like the title company shouldn't be asking for additional disclosures. But like Taylor was mentioning, does your title company have the ability to do like a blind HUD?
I believe they do, because I actually just spoke with one of their lawyers yesterday, and she was telling me that they are capable of doing that, and we can separate it.
I would try to just do a blind HUD, sign whatever you want, but do a blind HUD, and then that way everything is separated, and then all she's seeing is her side, what she's got to pay, if anything, for closing costs and whatever, and then no harm, no foul. She sells her house, she sells it, all agreed upon terms that were agreed upon before, and that's it. So I would see first and foremost if they were able to do a blind HUD. If there's even a problem, I mean, it's probably best if she's being cool now. Probably she'll be fine. She knows that you're wholesaling it, which is a great thing. Like you don't even have to. Like the biggest part is usually when people don't even say that they're wholesaling a property. So then when they find out you're wholesaling and then they find out you're making money on it, then it becomes a problem. But she already knows. So she knows what you got to make money. She might not know how much you're making, but she knows you're making money on it. So I would just try to do a blind HUD and keep her in a good mood and keep it moving.
Okay. Yeah, good deal. So I'll go over. I'm fixing to go over to the title company today and kind of talk with them about that, because it didn't seem like it benefited the seller or the buyer for me to disclose exactly how much I was making.
It's for the title company.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
Yep.
Okay.
They don't want anyone. They don't want anybody to be coming back and be like, I was taken advantage of. So they want it on record and signed what it's being purchased for and what it's being sold for. So that full disclosure on protecting themselves.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you, Devin.
All right, fellas. I'll talk to you later.
Yes, sir. Come on down.
Boo, we seen you've been waiting, trying to get up on the stage for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Sorry, I got a little cold here with my voice, but yeah, I have a question on I'm working on a seller finance deal. I've never done one before. So what I did is I was trying to go, do a JV with some of the people that I know. So we did explain to the seller everything, and he agreed with that. But I have the other people that I JV with. I have them do the contract since I haven't done any seller carry deal. So what happened was I got the contract and addendum, and the name of the contract is not under my name, and it's not under the guys that I was trying to JV with. So, and I talked to them and see what happened. Why is it like that? So, what they told me is because the company that's on the contract, he's the guy that has been doing this kind of deals. So they've done business with them before. So, so I'm just, I don't know. I'm just like curious about this, and I don't know, what, if, I don't know. I mean,
well, this sounds like you're caught in the middle of a daisy chain.
Daisy chain. Yeah.
Well, see what they were telling me is because I asked them about the JV contract, and they said, well, we can't really do a JV contract here because we have to have the seller sign the original contract, and then we can do the JV. So
Yeah, so you need, anytime you're doing a JV with someone, the first question you need to ask them is, are you direct to seller? Are you the contract holder? Do you have your business entity or your name on the contract, on the agreement between the seller and the person purchasing the property? And if they're not that person, you should.
I am the direct person. I'm the direct person to the seller.
Okay, so you're direct to seller.
Why is your name not on the contract on?
Well, that's what I'm curious about it. And I just thought that maybe, you know, as I said, I've never done a seller carry before.
Oh, hold on. Pause for a second. This is your wait. This is your deal?
Yes.
Okay, so you signed a contract with the homeowner.
I haven't signed the contract with the owner. The guy that's the company's on. See, I don't know how to write up the contract or structure the deal. That's
okay.
why.
So there's no deal active then.
No.
So what are we talking about? I'm confused. Is anybody else confused? I'm confused.
Okay. Well, my question. Okay. Here's the thing. The guys that I wanted to JV with, okay, because I thought that they have already done a seller carry deal before. So what I did, I told them, hey, let's go JV in this deal, and you guys write up the contract. Since I have not done a JV deal, seller carry before. So they said, okay, we'll go ahead and do that. We'll write up the contract. I do the contact with the contact with the seller and all those things. You know, they don't know the information about the seller. Okay, they just go through me. So
has any paperwork been signed?
No. They send me the contract to give it to the seller to sign, but when I look at the contract, my name is nowhere in the contract.
Yeah, so send it back to him and tell him that you need to sign on the seller on the buyer side, that they need to put the seller's name on the seller side, and tell him that you guys will sign a joint venture agreement separately together. That's all you got to do.
So I can have all our name on the contract, right?
No.
Just your name.
You want you want your name as the buyer, and you want the seller's name as the seller. Okay. And then you just need to have them write it up, okay? And then you just need to sign as the buyer, have the seller sign as the seller, right? And then just tell them just say, me and you we'll sign a joint venture together on this, and then get this done.
That's what I told them.
Mm-hmm.
But they said no, we are not going to do the joint venture unless the seller signs the contract with the other guy on it.
Then tell them to go kick rocks. I mean, what are we talking about here? What's happening? I mean, this is not a big decision. I mean, if they don't want to do the joint venture, then I mean, they're not the only people in the world that can write a seller carryback. So
we've got the king of finance in this call right now.
I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, you can learn how to do it. You should learn how to do it. If it's going to be your deal and you're going to be the one working it and doing everything with it, I mean, it's okay to use somebody else's template or whatever, but I mean, you should also learn, how to do it and what all the terms are.
I have a question though. I have a question, Vu. You've never done a seller carryback and seller finance, which is understandable. Are these people also creating the seller finance terms for you, or do you already have the terms already figured out with the seller and you just need somebody's contract to fill out to get under contract with the seller?
I just need someone to write up the contract the way it's supposed to be. And
Yeah.
you know,
Easy.
we already agree on the loan, and you know how much I need to put down and the term and stuff. I just need someone to write up the contract. And
They shouldn't even be trying to JV with you. They should
allow me to introduce
just
you
give you
to
paperwork.
Mr. Matt Riley, rinse and repeat. He's here in the call with us, joining us live today, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank
See
you.
that?
He can help you. He's a great resource. He's done multiple deals nationwide, completely virtually, and I'm sure he would be pleased to write this agreement up for you. It'd be a walk in the park.
Yeah, I mean, I would understand if you were using them also to structure the terms and things like that. Are you a sub 2 member by chance?
I don't know what you mean by sub 2 member. I just jump into the call. Somebody just add me to this, and I just you know jump into the call. I be honest with you, I really don't know what you guys are doing and stuff. So, but I'm glad I did, because
We're glad you did as well. We're glad you did as well. Are you purchasing this property yourself, or what are your intents with the property under contract?
No, I'm not purchasing it. We already have, well, the guys that I want to JV with, they have a buyer lined up to buy this property. So I'm not buying it. I'm just assigning it.
What are they
Outside of if you
Buying it and then assign it. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Do you have resources outside of these individuals? If you were not to JV with them, do you have the abilities to assign this yourself?
I don't.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, I think first and foremost, if you want to JV with them, if they truly do have a buyer, your name needs to be on that contract, and then you're going to assign that contract to them or do a JV agreement with them separately. But your name should be on that contract because you're direct to seller. So we can get you a contract for you to fill out, so you're under contract with that seller, and now you're in control of the deal, as opposed to what they're trying to do is, because you're inexperienced, because you don't know what you're doing. Unfortunately, it seems like they are.
Yeah, I think that's part of what they're doing. I've done, the only thing I've done is wholesaling. So I don't know, I never done a seller carry before. That's why I'm using them. But as in JV with them. That's
who are these people in the Discord? How do you know these people?
I don't think she's in Discord.
These people are just some people that I know from a REI club here in Utah. So
okay.
Yeah, so I know them, but I just, I'm just curious because I asked them if they've done any seller carry before, and they said yes, and that's the reason why I want to work with them, but it doesn't seem like it because someone else is writing up the contract,
Yeah, and that's yeah.
I say,
but good thing you came in here. Good thing you came in here. Good thing you asked the question, because now you know, and you had the wherewithal to even look at that though and say, hey, this isn't right. My name's not on this contract anywhere. And as it states right now, if I were to submit this to the seller, you guys are under contract with the seller, not me. And I don't even have an agreement with you guys stating any kind of partnership or payout between the both of us once this does get assigned out. So you did the right thing there. So your name should absolutely be on that contract. So I would absolutely either send it back to them and say, my name needs to be on this contract, and then we will do a separate JV agreement together, or we will get you a contract. You can fill it out appropriately with all the terms and everything that will be in there. And now you're under contract, and now you can take that contract to them if you want.
Okay. So do you think if I don't JV with them, well, I don't know. I mean, I would love to JV with them because they're getting me a buyer, but
what are the terms on this deal?
I go through. Do you think if I just go to my title company, do you think they can write up a contract like that, or?
A title company might. I would go to an attorney. If you were to do that, your contract here, or you can go to an attorney that would draft up a seller. They probably even have a seller finance template that you could use for a contract.
Oh, okay. Okay. I think I'll probably go that route. Well,
Mr. Matt Riley, that's my suggestion.
I'm sorry. Work with who?
Mr. Matt Riley.
Oh, Okay.
You don't have to add the Mister on there. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, I'd love to work with you, Matt, and we can JV.
Oh, okay. What are the general terms of your contract?
It's it's 10 years. Let me see. Hold on one sec.
I love this right now.
We're doing like a 10 years, 4% with a payment of about $2,100 a month.
Okay.
30 with a $30K down.
30%?
No, $30,000 down payment. 4%, 10 years.
Okay. What does that $30,000 equate to percentage? Like, how much of a down payment is that?
Well, the down payment to the seller is $30K.
Right, but I don't know what the purchase price is. So, what is $30K in terms of like percentage?
Well, the purchase price is $450.
Okay, so that's actually
ARV for the property is about 525.
Okay, not terrible. What did they say? Did you have an assignment fee that you were looking for on that? Like, is there an idea of what you'd like to make on the deal?
Well, this is what they were saying. We were going to sell the contract. We're going to sign the contract for 60, put down 30, and there are like 4 of us, including the guy that wrote up the contract.
4? Why does it take 4 guys to sell one contract? What's going on over there?
I'm thinking, well, because there are 2 guys that I was going to JV with them, okay? But I'm thinking the guy that's writing up the contract, we're going to have to pay him. So 3 of the guys plus me. So all 4 altogether.
I was going to say, that's a full house.
Yeah. And I'm just doing this because I'm very inexperienced with seller carry. So
you're doing the right thing. You tried looking for a resource to help you do, to get rid of the thing and to do you didn't want to put it under the wrong contract. You wanted to structure it the correct way. You wanted to find I totally understand you did it the right way. Unfortunately, and this is just speaking very, very generally, it sounds like you came across some individuals who probably saw that it was a good deal and decided that they were going to try to squeeze out as much as they can on it and be the actual contract holders on it, and then just kind of push you off to the side and say, hey, we'll give you some money when we're done with this thing. And how much money? Who knows? It'd be after they paid themselves, and who knows? And so it just, I don't think it's the appropriate way to start a business relationship with somebody.
True. Well, that's true, but with me not knowing, I was just go along with it. But
of course, but you still have instincts, whether you're brand new to the game or not. You still have instincts, and your instincts told you something's not right. And somehow, some way, we don't know how you got in this group, but we're glad you're here, and you ended up on this stage, and you asked the right questions. So now you know probably not going to be the structure that you want it to be. So I'm happy to help in any type of way I can, but I think at least bare minimum, you should send that contract back to them and say, hey, my name needs to be on this contract or I'm out. My name and only my name, not their name and your name, nothing along those lines. Your name and only your name needs to be on that contract.
Okay. So, okay. Well, be honest with you, Matt, I'd love to work with you. So how can I get your information? I mean, these guys, I think they're probably like pulling my legs because they know I'm very inexperienced.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate.
Even I mentioned it to the seller, and the seller said, I want you, I want to sell the house to you. I want you to make money from this deal.
Good.
Yeah, so I have a very good relationship with the seller. So
I don't been a roller coaster of emotions.
Do you if I were to DM you right now, would you know how to Hold on, let me figure this out.
Did you talk cash flows yet?
Let me figure this out. Yeah, I mean, if you feel comfortable, you can give me your phone number, or I can try to get it from you privately. However you'd like to do it.
I'll give you my phone number right now. I don't think anybody else would call me.
I don't think
Did you talk cash flows on this deal yet?
No, I'm gonna have to run it. Yeah, do you know? Okay. First and foremost, what is your phone number?
Here, I can put down my phone number here on the chat. Is that okay?
Perfect. And then, like Paul would mention, what is the exit strategy for the person buying it? Is this something that would make sense as a long-term rental? Is this something that makes sense to an end buyer as a short-term rental? Do you have all of those numbers?
See, I don't know anything about the buyer. The only thing I know is they said, well, we already got a buyer lined up. So, I don't know anything about the buyer. I don't know anything about the
buyer might not even know anything about the deal. The buyer might not even know. They might just think that they have someone.
There might not even be a buyer yet.
Yeah, there might not even be yet. So most likely they're trying to get this on the paper so that they can go try to shop around and see what's going on. But I think they probably have someone lined up that they think might be interested in a situation like this, and they're probably going to pitch it to that person or multiple people. You know what I mean? But it's no guarantee. I mean, so you probably want to have Matt take a look at the deal.
I just put my phone number in there, Matt.
I got it.
I think the other thing too for you, Vu, is just when you're structuring, owner financing and stuff like that, just kind of understanding how you're setting it up for the person that would want to buy it.
Yeah.
Numbers for a phone number though.
It's got two of the same repeating set, but if you're good.
Okay, 8301473.
Yeah, just get rid of the 1830 set.
Yeah.
Okay, I see it now. Yeah, thought that was your social security number for a second. I didn't know we were that close. I didn't know. But yeah, I think Paul brought up a good point. That's what I was actually asking in terms of when you ran your numbers of, okay, seller, I'll give you $30,000 down at 4% interest, pay you $2,100 a month. What were you basing those numbers off of? Like, can I put with that deal, with where market rents are and things like that, can I put a long-term tenant in that house and cash flow off of the terms that you have?
Hey.
Oh,
Dalton Woods is a Salt Lake City guy.
There you go.
Yeah, Dalton's been looking for something. So if this is a good deal, you guys might be able to.
Dalton, I'd like to get your phone number.
Dalton is legitimate too. Dalton and I work together very closely, and I can tell you personally, he definitely has the cash, and he definitely is a legit buyer. So
interested party.
It's a good deal.
So, Vu, what do you think the property would rent for?
I don't know, but you're probably somewhere around in the 2,000 range, I think. It's a nice neighborhood,
Yeah, it's just is the rent more than the debt that you just set up, or?
Well,
I don't know. I'm just guessing. I don't know. I didn't even look at that.
Yeah, so you should probably have Matt or somebody take a look at the deal before we ever even throw papers around or have anything signed. Just
well, that's why. Yeah, these guys, they were running the numbers and stuff. Yeah. So, but I don't know about the rent. So
I think good practice when putting properties under contract for seller finance is most of the time your end buyer. So whether you JV with somebody who finds the buyer or you become a person who can find buyers yourself, that end buyer most of the time is going to be an investor who is likely going to want to see cash flow. Now, there will be certain markets, maybe in Utah and Colorado, where you're going to get an owner occupant who would be happy to pay 4% and they don't care about, but for the most part, someone's going to want a cash flow. So when you are offering sellers terms, you should know what those numbers are on the back end. What would this house rent for on a long-term rental basis? Is this a short-term rental market? If so, what would it rent for estimated as a short-term rental or a mid-term rental or a lease option or a wrap? And there's many different exit strategies, because again, that's why seller finance and sub 2 is very tricky, because it's one of those things where you can get yourself in a lot of trouble by creating terms that don't make sense. And then all of a sudden you get something under contract and you can't get rid of it because the terms that you created are just too much. Either the down payment is too large, or the principal interest payment is too high, the interest is too high, or the balloon is too short, and all of the different things. And if you don't have those back end numbers to make your terms make sense, again, if your numbers are $2,100 a month and rents in the area are $1,900 or $2,000, long-term rent is already out the window for a buyer. A buyer cannot put a long-term rental in there and make any money because your terms are too high. So now what are our other exit strategies at that point for an investor? Is short-term rental allowed, Airbnb in that area?
Be honest with you, I don't know. I don't know it. I don't know.
Yeah. So those are things that you need to, and this is just for this deal and all future deals. If you're going to be doing this in the seller finance space, I mean, just as investment properties in general, you need to know those numbers, because you cannot accurately create terms to present if you have not already ran your numbers on the back end. That's like you offering up a purchase price on a property and you have no idea what it's actually worth. And you're like, I'll give you 400, and you have no idea if it's worth 200 or $1 million. And then I ask you, how much is it worth? And you're like, I don't know. And it's like, well, why did you offer 400,000 on it? And you're like, I don't know. So those are the tricky parts about seller finance that you just need to make sure you understand who is going to be my ideal buyer for this property. Let me run the numbers accordingly. Let me figure out what the rents are in the area. Let me figure out all of these different numbers. And now I need to make my seller finance terms appealing in that sense. If rents in the area are $2,000 a month, I cannot pay the seller $2,000 a month, because now I'm negative.
Well, I'm just guessing. I don't know. I think the other company, the other guys, they did run the numbers, but yeah, I can find it out.
Right, and we can help, as you know, we can help with that. But I'm just saying, for you, again, like, you eventually at some point, I'm sure, don't want to have to JV on every single property. You want to be somebody that can get rid of properties yourself.
Right.
So you're not giving up a chunk of money, and then maybe you do want it. Maybe you'd rather do that. But let's just say you don't. You're going to want to be somebody that understands the terms. If I ask you what does it rent for, you should know what that property would rent for. If I ask about short-term rentals, if let's just say I'm your buyer, you got this under contract, I'm interested. I want to buy this property. I'm now asking you, Vu, all right, I owe $2,100 at 4% interest. My balloon is due in 10 years. Okay, great. What do you think that it would rent for on a monthly basis to a long-term rental? And you're going to go, I have no idea. And I go, okay. What about short-term? Can I do Airbnb there? And you go, I have no idea. And I go, okay.
Well, I'm pretty sure you do Airbnb. You can rent it. You can. It's a really nice neighborhood, and that's one of the things that the seller was telling me. I'm sorry, my voice here. I have I have a sore throat here, but that's one of the things that the seller was talking to me about is, make sure if I put some people there, if I rent it out, make sure that I put like good people there, not some people that you'd go, ruin the neighborhood. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll reach out to you and we'll see what we can come up with, and we'll see about what the actual numbers look like on all the different exit strategies, and see what makes sense and what doesn't.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Thank you, Vu.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Nicely done. Nicely done. I'm glad that she could come and join us and ask that
Great
question
call.
Because, she was probably moments away from signing the deal away. She would have had absolutely no control in that transaction, and she was direct to seller.
Yes, I was on my way over there today. I'm going to go there today.
Power of community, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't already, you need to invite somebody to get in proximity with us. G30 PM. We got time for your call, man. We got Ernesto, and then we're wrapping it up here.
Yes, sir. How y'all doing?
Doing
Good morning. Good morning.
I'm good. So as some of y'all may know, I had a property on the contract and everything, and the seller backed out of the contract because she couldn't get approved for another home, so they backed out of the contract. So now I'm at square one. So I'm back at square one. That was my first ever deal. I was excited about it and everything. I'm not gonna beat myself up about it though. I heard you guys suggesting that the first thing to do that you what's the word I'm looking for? That you advise every new wholesaler to do is find the buyers and then see what their range is and see what they're looking for and everything. So my question is, where's the best place? What do you guys think is the best place to like find buyers? I understand Facebook group chats, but they're not really active that much in Facebook group chats.
I would not say that is the best place to find buyers. That's the best place. That's the best place to find wholesalers pretending to be buyers.
Yeah.
That is going to get you into the same situation that this lady was just, involved in, unfortunately. So, no, Facebook, I think maybe back in like 2018, 2019 was a good place for a while.
Mm-hmm.
There were some private communities to find cash buyers in, and people were doing deals in there. I mean, people were selling $30,000 deals on Facebook, but it just doesn't. After everything after the secret gets out, you know what I mean? Then the cavalry comes in, you know what I mean? And then you kind of get overloaded with the people that they come in and they take over. So now it's just kind of infested with, people who were just trying to take advantage of an opportunity that used to be there. And it's left the door closed to where it's not really there anymore. So, I mean, I don't know, John, do you still sell that list of cash buyers?
I absolutely do, Dan. We have a list of nationwide cash buyers, all of the active cash buyers in the United States. We've got a list, all that data, an incredibly affordable price, competitive to what you'd be able to get pulling this list on PropStream and even Kind. The data is Kind data, but that's neither here nor there. I think the best way to find buyers is to look at properties that have recently been purchased for cash or look at properties that have recently been flipped. Why? They're already vetted. These are active buyers because they actively did it. The way you're finding these people, you're looking at the property they just recently closed for their most recent project. You know that these are real deal buyers because you're looking at what they've done. You're not having to vet these people the same way that you'd have to vet somebody off Facebook or even anywhere else, because you're looking at the flip that they just did. You're looking at the property they just purchased. Those are the people you want to target.
Right. And then I know that they trying to find another property. They always looking for new property to sell. So you're right. I'll look into that. But yeah, that was really it. Cause I'm back at square one now, and I'm back in that state where I was nervous, and I'm like, yo, I gotta get back out of that state to find a property that I want to get a contract with and sign the contract to a buyer. I was so close to doing that, but it's whatever. But yeah, thank you guys, man. Y'all guys really helped a lot, man.
It won't be the first one and it won't be the last one, but it's all the ones in between that matter.
I don't know if it was David Goggins that said, was it David Goggins? I don't even know, but they said it's not about how many times you fall, it's about how many times you fall and pick yourself back up. Personally, I can count 5 contracts that fell through before the first one came. So it's like, every time it was super defeating. You want to quit. But the truth of the matter is, how strong is your desire to thrive? How strong is your desire to succeed? No matter what happens, if you keep going, like I said on my Instagram story, John's seen this, consistency, proper planning, and consistent, disciplined execution. Every single day, day in and day out, you got to put in the hours, like compound interest. It's going to happen in due time, but it will happen.
Right. Definitely.
John's over there like this now.
My hands rubbing, man. Something's going on. Something is manifesting here.
And it's great to have a community like us. We all always uplift each other. Going at this at the beginning solo was not easy. But, when you have people that support you, people that are in the same space, man, if you don't have REI Rev on your side, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Hold you accountable, too.
What are you doing? You must be
Who's
fucking
doing
up.
that? Yeah, literally.
You must be fucking up.
That it for questions?
We got one more time. Time for one more question from the man himself, Savion.
Oh, he
he's
dipped.
Off. He's gone.
Why he teases like that? What happened?
Oh, he's like a breeze. He's just in and out.
Which part?
John was posting that. And this is huge for anybody in here, guys. If you see somebody that needs help with a deal, and you don't have a buyer direct, put them in touch with somebody that you see on this panel in this community. We'll take care of you. Look at what John and Savion could pull off. John saw somebody on Facebook that had a deal, connected that guy with Savion. They closed on the deal, and Savion wired him $200 for making that connection, 2 DMs. Guys, there's so many different ways to make money in this industry. You are around the right people. Please know that you're in proximity with the right people and continue to show up and be in proximity with the right people. We got so many channels for you. We've got a networking channel, multiple co-working channels for you to hop in, make calls together, get feedback in real time. Take advantage of this opportunity when these calls end. Hop in those channels and watch the chat throughout the day. People are talking about deals, talking about money. You want to be talking about money. It's how you get rich. Who's trying to get rich?
I'm trying to get filthy. Give me 30. Give me 30.
Get this man rich. Show him the bust down, Ernesto. Show him the bust down.
No, chill. I can't do that. A little flash, but that's it. No, nothing more.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you all. Thank you for joining us today. If you haven't already, please consider inviting somebody to come and be in proximity with us. Send them that link, discord.gg/REIRev. It's been an absolute pleasure to be in proximity with you all, gentlemen and ladies. I will catch you in the next one.
Peace.
On the flip.
You got to let us know how that seller finance deal goes, Matt.
You guys got me.
That was a roller coaster of emotions.
I gotta have. If I gotta have that phone call,
I was like sitting there like at the beginning. I was like going up.
Not with her.
Oh man! Every 20 minutes that conversation continued to go on. The more information that was relayed, my mind just kept getting more and more blown of what was the situation that was going on.
I think we're gonna help.
I would think that we had it figured out. That I'd be like, oh, there's something else going on in the line, and something else would come up. I was wild. Wow.
I'm gonna send it to who did you? Dalton. Me and Dalton will call her.
There you go.
We'll get her set up.
Fantastic, gentlemen.
All right, boys.
All right. See ya.